7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Hi there, I'm Laurie, founder of Water Exercise Coach. I am so glad you're here. First of all, I want to say a big hello to my Wavemaker friends, as well as all of the instructors around the world that I have had the opportunity over the last couple of decades to work alongside with in the aquatic industry. I also want to say hello. Maybe you're joining us today because a friend or a colleague invited you into this discussion because they thought you might like to learn a little bit more about Wavemakers About. So it's nice to virtually meet you. Thank you so much for being here. Over the last 3 years, I have been involved in my new venture, which is Wavemakers, an online mentorship for water exercise. And it took a lot of years to build this program. 3 years ago, it began with experimenting with my classes and gathered up a lot of information so that June 2018, I went to Atlanta, Georgia, where I was joined by an incredible group of instructors, which I am forever grateful. They gave Wavemakers a test drive, and they gave me so much feedback and information, I went to work. A year later, June 2019, is when Wavemakers officially launched. And at that time, in our program, we have 250 new and experienced professionals from around the world. 15 countries are connected within Wavemakers. We have learned a whole bunch over this last year, and that brings us to today, April 2020. Here we are at the relaunch of Wavemakers. What we have identified over this past year is that we needed a few different things. And the first one being we needed a short program. We needed something really quick and easy where people could get the formula, learn how to use it, and be effective right away. Next thing we needed was a way for people that wanted to take a deeper dive into the Wavemakers best practices so that they could explore new ways to apply the formula into their classes and be able to adapt to new and changing situations. And then, of course, we needed a place where we could continue learning and growing our skills together as Wavemakers. So let's take a quick recap of that process. So I have a slide to show you. It's going to show us our journey. And there it is. June 2018. First up, we had a group in Atlanta, the Aqua Society, and that group gave our program a test drive. A year later, we launched Wavemakers. Wavemakers, then we had a year together experiencing the program. And here we are, April 2020, at the relaunch of Wavemakers. Right now, our world is experiencing disruption and uncertainty. I've been teaching for 30 years, and everything that we have been taught along the way is being severely disrupted. But we do know one thing for sure: we are moving towards a new norm. So it might seem a little bit odd right now that we're talking about planning. How do we plan when there's still so much unknown? Well, Wavemakers taught me why. Over the past year, Wavemakers has shown me that while 3 years ago, 2 years ago, even 1 year ago, the circumstances were much different. But Wavemakers showed me that the value of our community is even greater now. And so that's why we're here today, for me to let you have a little inside look into Wavemakers. So first up, you're going to be learning about the 3 learning pathways inside Wavemakers. Next, our learning motto. And finally, why Wavemakers is so much more than just an online course. So if you are already a certified instructor, or maybe you've been thinking about teaching water exercise, or perhaps you just want to come out on the other side of this with a new skill that is going to help your own fitness and wellness, then you're in the right place. I want you to stick around. To kick this off, I thought I would like to show you a video. Now, this video was taken in August 2019, and it was our first Wavemakers live get-together. This was held in Richmond, Virginia. Let's take a look. To apply those 7-foot positions in your workouts. Yeah. Those of you that are in the program, something that you're using?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Definitely.
Easy for you to apply?
Yes.
Yes, it's nice to have a variety of instructors and a fresh face on deck, but you're giving them the same movement, and everybody brings their own style to it.
We've made it like that. So for me, and I try to structure my land classes on functional movement, on how are you going to live everyday life, not just consistent choreography that isn't useful 100% of the time in everyday life. I brought it from land to the pool.
Now that video brings back a lot of great memories because it really encapsulates what Wavemakers is all about. First up, I was joined by a group of 12 instructors where we had the chance to share ideas and get questions answered and really progress our skills forward. And that was our first Zoom meeting back in August where we actually brought in our fellow Wavemakers from around the world. And in day 2, we had the opportunity to get together, 6 of us, and lead a class for the community. And we taught the workout directly out of the new Wavemakers ACTIVATE program. This was a chance for us to share with the community what our simple formula was all about and how it would help them to enhance their activities of daily living. So progressing forward, right now our world is seeing disruptive change on how we learn. And Wavemakers was really built for this because the way Wavemakers was designed was that it was a model that was continuous. It was evolving, and it's forever changing. So what I'd like to do next is just show you a look at the 3 new ways to learn within Wavemakers. So let's take a look at that slide. Inside Wavemakers, we have Activate. This is our 21-day learning program. Inside this 21-day program, you are going to get the 6-7 formula, and you're going to learn how to use it. The next branch is called Wavemakers Academy. This is really a deep dive into the best practices of Wavemakers. Here, you will get a results-driven plan that teaches you what to do and how to do it. And then finally, our ambassador program. This is ongoing learning. So within those 3 programs that we now have, what makes our learning experience so different? And I'm going to show that same slide once again because just in a minute here. But what makes it so different is our learning motto. Our learning motto is learn, grow, and share. This is what we do to develop our skills as powerful, life-enhancing water exercise coaches. So first up, inside the Wavemakers program, our formula is based on science. we learn the why behind the what. And this is really important to our learning because not only do we understand why we are providing certain exercises in our program, but we're also teaching our students why. And so they get to learn and grow and be able to help themselves when they're without us. The next phase of our learning is the fact that our program needed to be repeatable. So the way we teach is easy to learn and simple to use. And this allows it to be accessible to any type of workout format. So whether you teach aqua Zumba or you teach high intensity intervals, arthritis classes, deep water, shallow water, anything in between, you can always apply the formula. And finally, it gets results. Consistent results among individuals. And the reason why is that it's adaptable to the unique needs of every individual in the class and also the unique skills of the instructor. So our learn, grow, share model is constantly evolving to help get the best results. So let's take a look at that same slide one more time, our learn, grow, share model, because this one is something we want to make sure that we get a real grasp on. Learning. Our courses, you will first always receive an online course. Here, each course is packed with practical ways to use water, exercise science, and current research. Grow. This is where we put the knowledge that we learn into practice. So here, your weekly coaching emails will be supporting your learning. And this will allow you to personalize instruction, improving results, and really building trust and as reputation as a trusted authority on water exercise. And then finally, share. Our highly interactive Facebook groups are a place where we can share questions, we can share uncertainties, and we can also share aha moments so that we can all benefit from the collective wisdom of the community. So inside Wavemakers, we respect, we appreciate, and we value the uniqueness of every individual within our community. And that learn, grow, share loop, that will never change. How we use it will evolve to meet the needs of both our students in the pool and also us as professionals developing our skills. Whoever comes into that loop will always be supported. So what I'd like to do next is I would like to introduce you to, we're going to be virtually tapping in an instructor here. Her name is Selena Kleinschmidt, and she is from Florida. And Selena is going to be sharing her story as 5 months ago, I needed an instructor to help me out with a local community that wanted to start an exercise program. I knew Selena, and I knew that personal fitness was a priority for her. I just loved her energy. Selena just loves to dance, and she's got just such an energy about her that I knew, even though she didn't have very much experience in water exercise, that she would be a great fit for this community. So I invited Selena to take a dive into our Wavemakers ACTIVATE course and start teaching right away. So let's meet Selena. Selena, thank you so much for being here. And to start us out today, what I would love to do is ask you if you could please share with our viewers, as a new instructor, what was your biggest learning moment within Wavemakers ACTIVATE?
Hi, Laurie. Thank you so much for having me, and congratulations on 1 year of Wavemakers. It's awesome. Thank you for inviting me to do the program as well. As a new instructor, my primary experience with teaching was on land. Being a dancer pretty much my whole life, I was used to teaching in a particular way, following the music, doing choreography. And with Wavemakers, I felt a huge amount of freedom from the music. I thought that was a big step for somebody who comes from a dance fitness background. Being able to really focus on the students and how they were doing with each of the movements and not feeling like I had to change a pattern because the music changed. I was able to watch them be successful in the movement before we moved and progressed in a different way. So that was a huge takeaway for me. And I just really enjoy the community, and it's been a lot of fun.
I just love how you found out that it allowed you to focus in on your students. So from a student perspective, what do you think the two most important or best things proved to be useful for your students?
For the students, I felt like I was able to empower them more, to really tap into their own bodies and to listen to how they're feeling from day to day. I felt that the intensity scale was huge. Being able to say, hey, you know, working at a 6 and up is going to allow you to change in order to meet your goals, whether it's just improving overall fitness, if you have specific goals. It allowed them to really tap into how they were feeling from day to day. And I thought that was a great thing from the program. The other thing was the 6-7 formula. And I felt like it opened up a ginormous catalog of ways to teach them one move. I mean, just making them look into how their foot positioning is, going from a narrow stance to a wide stance, thinking about moving with rotation. And some of the people I know that I've worked with, they are maybe a little bit nervous about moving in a certain way, but doing these things in the water allows them to feel supported. It also allows them to move a little bit in a more pain-free sort of way. So they're taking different chances and tapping into how they feel from day to day. Also, what I found tremendously helpful with the intensity scale was allowing them to work in their own sort of box and just focusing on themselves and not worrying about what their neighbor is doing or feeling like they have to keep up with the instructor. I felt that it took a lot of the focus off of me and put it on the student, and that's valuable.
I'm so glad that you found that this program so valuable for both you and your students. So, Selena, if you were speaking to somebody that's maybe a new instructor, never taught before, who is maybe considering taking Wavemakers Activate, what might you say to them?
I would say do it. Dive in. It's amazing. Whether you're a seasoned instructor or somebody like me who maybe took a few classes and tried some things, this really allowed me to understand the why behind the what. You know, there's a lot of moves and a lot of programs that are out there that teach you the steps, that teach you the patterns, but I really enjoyed and felt that I benefited from the why behind each of those things and seeing how we would apply it from the water onto land. And just overall, it made me a better instructor. The website is super user-friendly. The videos are clear, clear picture quality, audio quality, and lots of super good content. The other thing I thought was really huge was the Facebook community. I have access to instructors from all over the world, people who have been teaching for 30 years, 40 years. For someone like me who's somewhat new, it's great to kind of tap in and see how they grew in their profession. And I think they can also learn from us, and they can kind of see the whole experience through a set of fresh eyes, and it'll help them to continue to grow. So it's a wonderful place for us to share. The weekly emails from you are incredible. There's always some little nugget that you can take out of it and apply it immediately. So this was a wonderful program for someone like me who's just starting out to get the classes up and running.
Well, thank you so much. I got one last question for you, Selena. Would you consider that Wavemakers is an essential for you in your learning going forward?
Absolutely. I feel that as an instructor, it has improved not only my confidence in the water, but also on land. And many of the things that I have learned, just the different foot positionings, I can apply those to personal training clients or, to other land classes. There's so much that you can take away from this. And realizing that you can tie in all of these different elements in one class, your cardio, your strength, your endurance, your mobility and flexibility, all in one nice package, and all giving the power and empowering your students to feel successful with each movement. And I felt that, again, it took the focus off of me, and I just feel more connected with my students. So that's my big takeaway.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to virtually join us today and give us your experience within Wavemakers. Just to highlight all the features within the Wavemakers Activate course. In this course, it's a 21-day course. And like Selena explained, we learn, grow, share. So what I often found is whether I was live on site taking a course or whether I'm taking an online course, some of the missing pieces were that when I got home and was applying the information with my students, that sometimes there was a disconnect as to how do I apply this to my students, or if I have a question, I didn't really have a place to get that answered. And that's why the Learn, Grow, Share is so effective. So inside Wavemakers Activate, you will receive a 2-hour online course. Then you will receive 3 weeks of coaching emails. These coaching emails are designed to help you put the knowledge into practice. And thirdly, you will be invited into an exclusive Facebook group that is just for the current class within the Wavemakers Activate program so that you can share ideas and grow together. So with that said, you might be surprised to learn that our current Wavemakers community is actually comprised of a whole lot of veteran instructors. We have a very large percentage of our group that has been teaching for a long time, 10 plus years, many of them. And so my next guest today, going to be virtually joining us, is Dede Thal, and she is from Wisconsin. And she's going to be giving us her perspective from a veteran. Now, Dede, she as well is very committed to her own personal fitness and wellness. She is a triathlete, and you know, a lot of hard work goes into the training for that. So she's very dedicated to her fitness. But what I love about Dede is she is so kind and passionate, and her desire to want to help people to improve their own personal health and fitness is just contagious. And so, Dede, I want to thank you for joining us here today. And I'm going to ask you the same question as I asked Selena. But if you could tell us from a veteran perspective, with over 20 years of experience, in fact, close to 30 years experience, and actually a YMCA director, so she's led many instructors also. What would be your important change, your number one important change that Wavemakers made in your teaching?
Well, thanks for having me, Laurie, and I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be part of Wavemakers. Like you said, I have about 29 years underneath my belt. That makes me feel kind of old, but with being in Wavemakers, it makes me feel young. Like you said, I am a triathlete, so a lot of my time's committed also to my own personal fitness, but I retired 4 years ago, and I was just going to take the time and sit back and think, well, I'm just going to relax, and I'm going to do whatever I feel like doing. Well, that really didn't last too long because I was passionate about the water fitness industry, and people wouldn't let me retire. And I thought I needed something. I had to sit back and look and say to myself, what do I need to get back into the fitness industry, the water fitness? And I came across Wavemakers, and it really put a spark into what I needed to do with the 6-7 formula. I mean, I taught anywhere from water yoga to deep water fitness, and I just was getting a little stagnant in there. So I thought, this is it, the 6-7 formula. I can put it into any one of my programs, and that's exactly what I did. And it's been fun, and people are seeing results. So I'm not retired. I'm out of retirement, and I'm having fun with the Wavemakers.
I'm so glad that you're having so much fun within the community. That's really exciting for me as a fellow veteran instructor. What do you think, Dede, have been really the 2 best features that have proved most useful for your students?
I think the intensity scale, that kind of, years back we talked and we learned about perceived exertion, and I thought, oh, the intensity scale. Because when I went back into teaching, I had to kind of step back and look, like I said, at the population I was serving. And I got known as the drill sergeant at one of my classes. And I thought, geez, when I seen the intensity scale, I thought they have to take this exercise and they have to learn it and own it and feel it. And with the intensity scale, they can. So when they're going from the 6 all the way up to the 10, if they can feel that when they're doing the cross-country ski and they're going through the motions, they're feeling that and they're aware of what's happening to their body, where before a lot of participants wear the watches like we do. We wear our watches, we're watching our heart rate and that, but we're not really checking in with our bodies and seeing what's happening and feeling what's happening to the body. So I really think that's been a big part of putting in that intensity scale and having the participants own their exercise and feel what's happening to them as they go through the 6-7 formula and moving throughout the water and feel what it's like to pull and push and maybe add some equipment in if they're not getting enough.
So Dede, what would you say to a fellow instructor, a veteran instructor, somebody that's been maybe teaching 10, 20 years, considering taking Activate? What would you say to them?
Oh, I would definitely say go for it. I will continuously, and we as veterans instructors, we're always looking for something new. At least I am, and I sure hope everybody else is, because we can always learn, we can share, we can grow from each other, and that's the beauty of the Wavemakers. Like you said, in this day and age, and where we are today, the beauty of it is we can go in our pajamas and we can do an online course and relax and take our time. I know I would always stress out when there would be an exam at the end, and I kind of shared that in some of my feedback along the way with Wavemakers. Is the exam part came and I started having anxiety, thinking, oh, I have to get it done. Well, it's not timed. We can take our time and we can go through this, and you can learn. There's so much more to learn and to offer to our participants, and I like being a coach now. I always had to look up to a coach in the training I do and stuff and learn from a coach, and now I think it's really cool that I'm a water exercise coach, and that's kind of how when I'm out there selling and thinking of water fitness and water exercises, I'm a coach, and I'm there to teach and help people continue to live a healthy lifestyle each day.
I love that you are calling yourself a water exercise coach, because I think that is one thing that really distinguishes people within the Wavemakers community, is that we're not just out there delivering a class. We are observing, and we get the skills inside Wavemakers to know what we're looking for so that we can better coach our participants to get exactly what they need out of their workouts. So Dede, I have one more final question for you, and that is, do you consider Wavemakers now an essential for your learning in the future ahead?
Oh, absolutely. I like the flexibility of it. I like being involved in the community of so many different exercise coaches from around the world. I think we're all passionate about what we do, and the more we can work together and grow from each other, the better off that the industry, the water fitness industry, is going to be. It makes it easy. We get the emails. I love getting the emails. I look forward to the next course that's going to be offered so that I can be the best that I can be to be able to serve the participants in my class.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your experience with us. And now that we have covered 2 of our objectives, first of all, you now know the 3 ways to learn inside Wavemakers: our Activate, Academy, and Ambassador, which I'll share a little bit more with you about that later. And you've learned about our motto, our Learn, Grow, Share learning model. Now it's time for you to really understand why Wavemakers is so much more than just a course. Wavemakers is a community that connects new and experienced instructors from around the world. Currently, we're connecting 15 countries, and we are truly benefiting from the collective wisdom of all the people that are involved within the community. That Learn, Grow, Share motto, it it'll always stay the same, but it will need to adapt to what is needed at that time. And it'll adapt and change for both the community and for how we learn. So for the community, one great example is this March, we found ourselves, many of us, without our pools. And so now our participants who relied on their water workouts to keep their body moving, healthy, and pain-free now had no place to go. But Wavemakers came together and we created a new product called 6-in-1 movement breaks. And this collaboration would never have been possible with just myself or maybe a few people, but everybody teamed up, came together, and used our aquatic fitness philosophies, applied that to land so that we could give our participants something that they needed right now and then. The next thing is that our learning, it's going to need to evolve. And we found that again in March when our pools were closed and we were just in the launch of a new course. It was won by one of our mentor coaches, Katrine Lemieux, and we had no place to be putting our knowledge into practice. So we adapted our learning. We added in a bonus learning segment with a Zoom meeting where, again, Wavemakers came together and we modified and adapted for what was needed, and we learned different ways how to take that material, and we developed our skills. So we got the job done. What I would like to do at this point is say a lot of thanks. First up, to all of the Wavemakers that I know are watching. I can see you posting some comments here as we go along. So thank you so much for being here. But more so, just thank you for your willingness to step out of your comfort zone, to learn new things, and to be open to trying different things that you never would have thought yourself doing before, whether it be logging into a Zoom meeting, leading a class on Facebook or Zoom, to keeping your students moving. So congratulations. Your community really needed that. And another thing, we are on set to graduation because the current group of Wavemakers is gearing up for graduation here at the end of May. And they are, again, contrary to what the common completion rate of online courses, industry standard is less than 10% of people complete online courses. This group of dedicated professionals is already 70% of the group has completed the necessary requirements, and we're not done yet. So thank you for your dedication all year long. And then next to our mentor coaches and our affiliate partners, we would definitely not be here without you. This has been a real collaborative journey, and there's so many of you to name, but you know who you are. Thank you so much for giving of your time and your talents and your expertise and helping to coach us with your wisdom into as we enter into new territory. And then lastly, I want to thank everybody that's just tuning in today to maybe get a little bit more information about Wavemakers, what this community is all about. I want to thank you for taking the time, for listening, and seeing if we could maybe be an environment that would provide you the support that you need going forward. So I have one more slide for you. I'm going to show that to you. This is our last slide that really gives the details about our Wavemakers registration. So we are opening registration to Wavemakers Activate on April 30th. So just 1 week from today. However, if you want to get the information, you can log into our website. It's waterexercisecoach.com. You can see it on that slide there and get all of the details. And you can even sign up to receive an invitation when the doors open. You'll see there that this course includes, it's a 21-day program. So in just 21 days, you're going to get the formula, you're going to get to learn how to use it. And the way we'll do that is you'll be given a 2-hour course, which is our Basic Moves Made Better. And that will be, your learning will be supported by 3 weeks of coaching emails, as well as an interactive Facebook group. And I am going to be inside the Facebook group leading your journey, but I am also super excited to tell you that a group of our graduates, our Wavemaker graduates, are going to be joining me inside that group to help support you and mentor you, because that's what this is all about. Our community is growing, and we are continuing to have new leaders emerge within the community. So these program coaches, they have backgrounds in everything from aqua Zumba to arthritis classes to personal training to deep water training. And we also have some people that are in management, people that are going to be able to give you some tips on how to pivot your business as we go through these different times. We have a real mix of people so that you can get all the information you need and learn how to apply that 6-7 formula into your classes and meet the needs of your students. So I want to invite you personally to Wavemakers. I hope that you will come in and join us. And really, when the doors open, we need to have a plan. We need to have a program that is going to help keep our students safe and get them the results that they deserve. And that's what we're doing here inside of Wavemakers. So I officially would love to invite you to join us. Check out our website, waterexercisecoach.com, and I look forward to seeing you on the inside of Wavemakers.